And we don't really have too many older ones on Sunday. This is more of the younger ones. And then time the children goes back up and swims a while longer, and everybody gets it cleaned up. By 4 o'clock, we're out. Mm-hmm.
Besides the Stevens, what other families are you related to in the area?
Well, not from only right here, but let's say on towards Chesterhill and Cutler and Zanesville. Okay, in our families would be like Stephen, Mayo, Dalton, Croston, Morris, Stoniker, Harris, Jenkins. That's all I can think of right now. But I know there's many, many more of them.
Where did the Stevens originally come from? Do you know?
I think the very first Stevens was from in Maryland, and his wife was from Culpeper, Virginia, or I may have it mixed up, and he was from Culpeper, Virginia, and she was from Maryland.
Do you know what their names were?
His name was James Stevens, and her name was Rachel Plater. Rachel Platter. Yeah, something like that.
And when did they come to Washington County?
I'm not for sure on the date of that. I've got it, but I can't remember.
Do you remember, was it in the 1800s, the 1900s?
It would have been early 1800s.
And do you know how he got the land that he settled here in Washington County?
No, not right off, no.
So talk a little bit about some of the Stevens that lived on this road. You said you had an uncle named William James Stevens?
That was my great-grandfather. Yeah, William James was my great-grandfather, and everybody called him Uncle Bub Stevens. And he had a farm that was, well, let's say on the hill over from this road. And then, see, he was the father of Jethro, and Jethro was the one that had this big farm. Also, great-grandpa James Stevens, he had 2 other sons. One was Frank Stevens, and one was John Stevens. John Stevens also was owner of a hotel in Zanesville. And also, Grandpa Jethro had a son, William Stevens, and they called him WB. And we all said Uncle Willie. And Uncle Willie was in the first, and I think he was the first, black to graduate from the Waterford High School. Then he went on as he was a teacher, and also he was a mail carrier. And then, so take our Grandpa Jethro Stevens, he was a part owner in a lumber mill. And then, I can't remember what John done. I mean Frank, but John owned a motel or a hotel in Zanesville.
Do you know the name? What was the name of that hotel?
I don't know, but it was on West Main Street.
Do you know approximately what year he owned this hotel?
No, I don't.
Now, growing up, did you attend, what church did you attend growing up?
Well, we went to church here we went to Church of Christ, and also the Nazarene Church in Waterford and Beverly.
Now, what was the racial makeup of the church that you attended in Waterford?
Well, when in Waterford, when my children went, there was only about 3 black families went, and there was the rest white.
Now, is this What church did you attend when you were a small child?
I went to Church of Christ in Beverly.
And was the pastor, what was the pastor?
He was white.
Do you know where he was from?
No, I don't.
Do you remember the pastor's name?
Reverend Cliff Jones.
And how long do you know he pastored the Church of Christ?
Oh, I don't know, but then I think turned around and his son-in-law was the pastor there for a while. And Reverend Jones is still living, and he's in, I think, Florida. Mm-hmm.
So, how did you learn about your family history?
Okay, in 1981, my daughter Melody done genealogy for a 4-H project. And when she asked me about it, and since you only had to know 3 generations, and I told her, well, that would be real easy to do. So she done it. And her first year, she went to the Ohio State Fair with that project. And I'll tell you, I don't think it's right. I think they need to make them work a little harder. She should have had taken the project like 2 or 3 years before she went to the Ohio State Fair. But then after that, I mean, you know, when you do your best, what's the use fooling with it anymore? So then I just kept adding more names to the tree, and when, you know, I'd find out, like death certificates and stuff. So really, after that, I went ahead and, kept on doing the genealogy. So otherwise, since 1981, I've been working on it.
Now, how do you go about your research?
Well, you don't want to really put down everything somebody tells you, because a lot of times they like to really blow things up. So go ahead, you can't tell them you're not going to listen to them. So go ahead and write it down, then you check it out. So then you go to the census records, obituaries, death records, birth records, and all those records like that. And there you'll get, most generally, you'll get the correct date, and most generally, you get the correct names on that.
Now, what type of stories were passed down in your family growing up? What type of stories did you hear about family members?
Oh my. Well, our family was a type that, did joke a lot and things, and there's one. Now, see, I was the youngest one of this family, and when you're young, you stay home and all that. Back when each one of the kids in my family, my brothers and sisters, they all had nicknames. So my 2 oldest brothers, which, was Augustine, Lauren Jr., then we had Alice and Bill, or William. I guess at one time they had these wheels, and it was like wheels off on a hay rake, and all it was just, or maybe an old wagon, and just 4 wheels fastened together, and just a board here in the middle, and they could use their feet to steer them. They would get on this up at Dad's house, Lauren and Helen's house, and some of them would get a push in them. And they'd come down over the hill by Uncle Oscar's house. Uncle Oscar's father-in-law was there, and his name was Elmer Stevens. And he was an old man, walked with a cane. Said when they got down there and they would go by, he'd always say, "By jangles, these kids is going to kill themselves on these wheels." And I guess that's all they had was almost 4 wheels they'd be hanging on. Then they'd come on down this road till they hit the other hill. And I guess they'd really go down that hill till they got clear down to Camp Hervida, where we have our reunion now. And that's the way then it would take all 4, 5, or 6 of them. And not only my brothers, but those Dayton cousins, like Gloria and Ethel May and Vivian and all of them, they were in on this too. And Uncle Elmer was so afraid that they was all going to get killed, but as far as I know, I think they just got skinned up a little bit from the gravels, and nobody got killed. And I can't think of any other ones right now.
So what type of things did you do as a kid? They went down the the hill on four wheels. What type of things did you do as a kid?
I was good. I really didn't do anything like that.
What type of things?
Oh, I can remember. One time, see, you ordered your chickens, and some people would hatch those out, but my mom, she ordered hers. So see, when they come in at the post office, they'd call and tell you, and send them out with the mailman. But or if you could go in town, you'd go and get them. So I think this might have been just about the year my dad died, and so he must have went in town and got these chickens, and so he had an electric fence between the house and the barn, and the the brooder house. That is what you put little chickens in, and it's got like a big round thing where you keep it heats it up, and that's your little chickens that goes in there at nights and stuff, and you have to, you know, keep it real tight so rats or nothing can get in there and get these little chickens. So they had the chicken house all fixed up, and when the other ones come in from school, I forgot about the electric fence. I was so excited. I took off running to the chicken house, and that electric fence hit me right across the head and knocked me to the ground. Because you know when you run into an electric fence, you feel it. So I can remember the electric fence knocking me down, and they all was pretty concerned about it. But they thought it was funny later on. But I didn't think it was funny.
So you would get live chickens through the mail?
Yes. They would just be like just 2 or 3 day old chickens. They would just, or you know, little chickens and things. And then you would take and put them in the brooder house, and that's where you'd start them. Then after they would get, I'm gonna say almost a year old, then you'd take them out of there and take them to the bigger chicken house. So our brooder house was like on the other side of the fence, and our big chicken house was like across the road.
So what type of games did you play as a child?
I always liked to play ball because I was so long-legged I could outrun everybody else. We played ball a lot, and we went swimming in the creek, in which I am afraid of the water. Yeah, I mean, I never had no accidents or anything, but every time you go swimming, my mom would start, "You better watch out now, some of you are going to get drowned." She'd still let us go, but you had to listen to all that before you went down there. And so you only stayed along the edge of the water.
So talk about some of the things you and your husband used to do around here.
Well, we farmed, and okay, one of the hobbies he liked to coon hunt. And so, you know, he mostly had 3 or 4 coon dogs. And a lot of times he didn't have anybody to go with him, so I had to get ready, go raccoon hunting with him. I can remember one night, he was really upset with me. Well, I had worked all day. Here we was going up and down these hills, so finally I told him, I said, you know, if you just leave the light with me, I'll lay down on the bench. We had went through Camp Hervida at that time, and the picnic tables out there. I told him I'd just lay there the rest of the night. I was so tired. But see, when you're out there, your dogs chases a raccoon up a tree. There you are. You got to hold the light up on that raccoon while you take your gun and shoot it. So you can't hold a light and shoot at the same time. So there was times I'd have to hold the light for him and shoot it. And then when the coon falls out of the tree, your dogs will jump on it. And then sometimes you had to get in there and pull them dogs back, you know, because, I mean, they would really fight with it for quite a while. He really enjoyed it. I really didn't enjoy that, but I would go with him and stuff. And then we farmed a lot. I've helped do the plowing and disc, and I remember the first time I done that, and I really plowed a little too long. And you do know, after you, on a tractor,